Namaste, my name is Inge Patsch and welcome to the series Social Business. Today, I would like to tell you more about the Type D social business, environmentally friendly or regenerative social business. If you would like to know more about the typology and how I derive this, please visit my other videos on this channel. A Type D social business is as a social business as an organization where the social program, in that case rather the environmental program, and the enterprise activities are integrated into one sphere. So while doing your business, you at the same time doing good to nature. A Type D social business therefore focuses on the environmental level of sustainability rather than the society and economical spheres, assuming that if we do good to environment and environment is thriving, this is the baseline for having a thriving society and economy. Asking the question of the beneficiary, Type D social businesses are actually interacting with a market very normally like any other social business. But then there is like not one particular beneficiary, but it's more the society as a general, which benefits from this regenerative business process, which is actually giving back to nature. So in Type D social business, actually being 100% environmentally conscious and friendly and having a positive impact on nature, so a positive footprint as Braungart would call it, is in the center of all the activities. And then around this, you actually try to build your business model, which makes you financially viable. And of course, treating customers, employees, suppliers, as well as the rest of society in an equitable manner is the key. Before I continue with the question on which problems a Type D social business can solve, I would like to have a short look at the terminology of conventional practice versus regenerative. So just to have kind of this graphic is basically designed by Daniel Christian Wahl, who has been writing a very, very interesting book on the topic of regenerative designs. And he distinguishes between conventional practice, so this is what our businesses are doing at the moment, which is part of a degenerating system, where actually the systemic vitality is decreasing. Now that's what you're seeing, no matter if we look at ocean acidification or if we look at the CO2 level in the atmosphere or the health of our soils. At the moment, our business practices are actually degenerating. Then one step is like to be green, which means that you are less harmful to environment. Sustainable would then be the point where you say, okay, you're neutral now anymore. So you're not doing any damage, but also you're not yet like regenerating or making it better. So the next would then be restorative, saying, okay, by what you do, you actually improve the system, you improve the vitality of the economic system, from the ecological system, up to really saying reconciliatory, where you say, okay, humans are getting back into the integral parts of nature. Finally, regenerative, where you say, okay, there is an appropriate participation and design as nature. So we're becoming like a beneficial thing for society is the key thing to do. This is based on the ideas, and I totally follow Braungart in this idea, saying, well, why would we talking about reducing the environmental footprint is like one option. Another option would be to say, how can we turn our footprint into like a positive footprint? Imagine that all our things we would do as it is in nature, there is no such thing as a waste. Everything produced by one being is actually the source of food or has any use for another being. So rather than looking into reducing our footprint, is saying, can we make our footprint a positive footprint? So it's something that we give back to nature, whatever we do. And we will a bit later come on this very interesting topic of cradle-to-cradle design, but I have made a separate video on this. I'll briefly look at this, which would really be saying, okay, you contribute positively back to nature. So which problems can a Type D social business solve now? So it can turn destructive footprint into regenerative footprint, as we were already saying now. So by actually saying, okay, rather than destroying soil, you're actually building up soil, and we will see one beautiful project later which is doing that. It can encourage environmentally friendly behaviors. You can encourage your users or your customers or your clients to do something which is more regenerative for them as well as for nature. Yeah, so I think these are the two main things which type D social businesses can do. So what are the guiding questions we can ask ourselves if we design a type D social business, or if we are operating an organization with the aim to actually be focused on environmental impact and would like to improve our strength and our impact in this regard? So the first thing is the product designed cradle to cradle? So cradle to cradle really means that each and every biodegradable, so every renewable resource, is fully going back into the natural cycle. So let's take, for example, a piece of paper. When my product is designed in a cradle-to-cradle manner, I first use it, then maybe I recycle it, but eventually I will not be able to recycle it anymore, or maybe there is, for whichever reason, it's not possible to recycle it anymore. Then preparing the paper as well as everything which is printed on it in a manner that it's like 100% biodegradable, so you can compost it and it can go back into the natural cycle, would be cradle to cradle. For everything which is like a non-renewable resource, the main aim would be to build it in a way that it can be fully replaced. So if I know that it's not possible maybe for some businesses to immediately have like a fully cradle-to-cradle certified portfolio in their offer, but then it's always the question, can you design your business processes, your structures and everything in a manner that once a new technology is out, which would allow you to be cradle-to-cradle, that you can easily adopt and change the technology, so that you don't have a lock-in because you have invested 500,000 euro in a machine which you cannot change anymore, for example. Another guiding question, which is maybe not the central question, but as well a very important one, I think also for integrity, but also for the impact it has, is saying, do you encourage environmentally friendly behavior of your employees? So if you have a business which has a very environmental conscious business design, probably most of your employees are anyway very conscious, but then again, do you support this by, for example, subsidizing public transport, or allowing for flexible working time, which allows them to use public transport, or having facilities where they could take a shower if they decide to ride the bike to the office, vegetable, organic food in the canteen available. So all these are like small things you can do to improve the environmentally friendly behaviors of your staff. Is the product you have designed to foster sufficiency, means use less energy and material during its lifetime? So are you helping humanity or your target audience to actually do something which is less environmentally impactful, or environmentally impactful in a positive manner? For example, by very simple example, producing a cycle is giving an advantage over them having a bike, or having a motorbike, or having a car. Is there an active communication of the environmental aspects to the public? So you will have a marketing department, you will communicate. So are you transparently and actively communicating all these environmental aspects, and therefore contributing like to your share of awareness creation about the topic and how there can be a solution? How can you avoid the Jevons paradox is also a very interesting question, especially for those businesses which focus on technology. The Jevons paradox, in short, is saying in the past it has been shown the more efficient different technologies get, there has been a tendency to say, okay, then we consume more of it. We have seen it, for example, with TVs. TVs have become more and more energy efficient over the last years. But like with the energy efficiency increasing, on the same time also the size of the screens was increasing. So we use the similar amount, but not even more amount of energy nowadays on TVs, even though the efficiency has been increasing a lot. So how can you actually consider this, that when an efficiency increases, users tend to use more of it or not be as conscious about saving? So how can you make sure to consider this in your business plan? So what are now limitations as well as risks of type D social business? So one challenge I saw is that there is very little truly regenerative chemicals available, and chemicals not available, also base products available. So if you would like to run any business or any factory, you actually have to purchase a lot of products, let's say fashion. So you would have to have access to regenerative wool, regenerative buttons, regenerative zippers, and so on. So many of these products are not available. So there is a lot of base research to be done. That's why I say, okay, this can be like the big long time vision, but on the short run, this could become a limitation and a challenge. Besides, you're yourself kind of an inventor and someone who is very technically versed to really invent these things yourself. Is the price competitive? This is another question, as the current pricing system or the current market in which we live is not showing the truth of cost for the environmental damage created by other businesses. So once you involve this and you don't have like a truly innovative idea on how to be regenerative, you might probably have to source maybe raw material which is higher in price. So are you able to be competitive is another question, but I mean, this is anyway a question for most social entrepreneurs. Is it the most regenerative solution in the market is another question I would ask, because when I come across or when I did research on regenerative design, some of the solutions we find are actually outside the market norms. So it seems, there are several experts who have the feeling that it seems more realistic that we say, for example, for agriculture, we would not have the big agriculture supply system as we have it now, with mid-scale farmers and a few food corporations buying it, purchasing it, and selling it in supermarkets, and we buying it. But that rather the most regenerative solution would be to have like localized small farms, maybe run by a community or run by maybe a handful of farmers with a few volunteers, which is strongly supported with the community. So community supported agriculture, for example, even home gardening or a combination of these two. So there is then the question, what is the business model you can build around this? So is it possible? So it might be possible, but then there could always be like more regenerative solutions which do not follow the basic market logic, or where you have to think maybe about a very different business model, as we will see later. So what are a few case studies I found? And I mean, there are exciting case studies out there. It's really great what people have already been inventing. So the first one, which is really was blowing my mind when I first heard about this, is the Sechem farm in Egypt. So in the last 40 years, they have built viable fields from the scratch in desert sand. So a lot of really smart people with a lot of knowledge about biodynamic agriculture have managed through composting, through very smart irrigation, and so on. So all what you see on the screenshot here, and there is an incredible movie about them too, like this has been plain desert ground, and they have managed to really turn hectares and hectares into fertile soil. So they have been regenerative. So they have really went back and they worked with the soil, and what came out was more valuable, which was there before. So a perfect example for me how to be regenerative. And on top of this, they're hiring several thousand people. They have, meanwhile, schools, colleges, and the whole social system around this, where people and their families also finding a place to be. So a really, really beautiful example for a very integrative social business, but at its core, it's a type D social business, producing Demeter certified products and regenerating the soil, so bringing back life into the deserts of the Sahara. Another one, which is a bit more technology based and closer to us, maybe a bit weird, but that's maybe why I like it, is called living farms. So the idea is, okay, eating meat is one of the energy consuming or the big impacts you can have. So living farms has been developed boxes for home use, where you can actually put your residual waste, such as the leftovers from potatoes or similar, and then you feed worms from it, and from these worms you can make burger patties or something like this. So it's like a way how you grow your own meat at home from worms, which have way less environmental impact, be it in terms of CO2, be it in terms of water use or whatsoever, per kg of meat than any other meat has. So that's the most efficient meat if you want. So if you love your burger patties. But of course, you have to get like over it. I think I prefer to be vegetarian. Another one, technology, which is maybe a little bit more straightforward and broadly acceptable, is the idea of cloud and heat. So these engineers were saying, okay, on the one hand, we have, at least in Western Europe, we have in the winter a lot of heating requirement for full houses. We requires kilowatt and kilowatt hours of heating energy. And then on the same time, if we have a server, the servers are like having a lot of heat and radiating the heat. So they have combined these two things. So they provide hosting solutions for servers, which in the same time can be used to heat up the whole building. So you use the excess heat and therefore like you're more energy efficient. It's not fully cradle to cradle, I have to admit, but still it's a very beautiful example for me for one technological solution, which also can be helpful. Another project or another I'm really excited about is Erwin Thoma, the project. He's an architect and he has invented this, or he's been working on how we can actually build climate neutral or climate positive, energy positive houses by using 100% wood. So he has developed this beautiful technology, which is, well, way beyond my technical understanding. But from all I understand, it's like as stable as any house made from concrete or made from any other non-renewable resources. It has a zero energy balance because the wood is grown in the forests over here and is therefore not causing any harm. There is like every material involved is 100% environmentally friendly. It's fireproof. He even has like proven that he has been applying for a tender to build a hospital in Germany, and first they were all thinking, is he going nuts? Is he crazy? You cannot build a hospital by wood. What about all this this bacteria resistant this resistant bacteria which we find in the hospitals? And he has been able to prove with a research team from the University of Graz that actually all this multi-resistant bacteria which we find in hospitals can least resist or cannot exist on his wood. So the way he is treating this wood with all natural material is better performing than any other hospital environment. So a really, really exciting man, a really, really exciting product, and a very nice case on how things can be really regenerative and very sufficient in design. I have been searching, and I have to admit I didn't find if there is anything such a fully cradle-to-cradle certified restaurant. Like, of course, we all know, I think, restaurants which have a vegan, fully organic, Demeter certified platter. So I think this is at the moment state of the art if I want to think about a restaurant. But then I think if I would take it to that level of saying what is regenerative, we would need to really think and redefine what could a regenerative restaurant be, including maybe to think what about happening to composting toilets, because how are you taking actually the nutrients back, which your clients take away? But I think this is a very speculative thought. But yeah, I still hope to have given you a nice insight on what is a Type D social business, and I have shown you some inspiring case studies. If you would like to have more information, please visit my website or follow me on this channel. Thank you.